Hey guys, you can definitely tell I screwed something up on a video when you can make the deliberate editing scenes, like the one you're seeing here, and this interspersion, to let you know that yes, this particular video is edited because I screwed up the opening tile, and that's the only thing that went wrong, and it's the only thing that's really edited. So, I edited the front tile, I put this piece in to let you know why it's edited, and now on with the show. Welcome back to the Manor, Julian McBain here, and we are back with Entropia Universe. We're going to do a quick update, and then we're going to jump right into today's content. So, to start off, as you can see, we're back on Cyrene. We're going to remain here until Merry Mayhem. Cyrene, I don't think, gets enough love, which is why we're here. It really deserves more love. And now that the Codex is out, it is worth spending the time. And of course, my reclaiming skill needs some work still, so we're going to be working on that. But overall, the main reason we're here is because Cyrene just doesn't get enough love. It really doesn't. It's a fantastic planet. It's always been a favorite, so we're going to spend the rest of the year until Merry Mayhem. And in Merry Mayhem, of course, we'll return to Calypso. And then it'll either be Monria or Toulon for the beginning of next year, in all likelihood. Also, on a quick update, I am still looking at scheduling changes. I do not want to keep missing live streams, but life circumstances have changed somewhat for scheduling. So over the course of the next 4 weeks, we will be exploring that, and you'll get a finalized schedule when I come up with it. I'm leaning toward moving my Friday live stream to Sunday. And then, for now, we're going to keep the Tuesday live stream where it is. But that might get moved around a little bit too. It's just trying to find a way to schedule it well. And if we're going to do a Sunday live stream, we may move around the Sunday video to be somewhere else. These are all kind of ideas that are being tossed around. Haven't come to a final decision yet. It's going to be determined based on life, and I'm hoping to have that final decision before the holidays are over. So please bear with me as we continue working through the scheduling changes. Don't be surprised if there's a couple missed live streams. I apologize in advance. Life restructuring sometimes requires the restructuring of schedules, so we're going to work with that. Okay, so we're going to continue on our bent of talking about quotes, as although the McBain moments are not back, there have been a lot of requests for this sort of stuff, so we're going to continue operating on this for the time being, or until other topics come up. So before we get started, if you're new to the channel, welcome to the Manor. Please take a moment and subscribe down below. We are on the road to 13 million subscribers, one subscription at a time, so make sure you subscribe. Also, please consider going to patreon.com/JulianMcBain if you want to support my work. If you do, you'll get exclusive content delivered to you every single month. And here we go. So today's quote is by Jim Rohn, and it's, "If you are not willing to risk the unusual, you will have to settle for the ordinary." If you are not willing to risk the unusual, you'll have to settle for the ordinary. Isn't that pretty much life in a nutshell? See, life itself is basically designed around the idea that everything gets routinized. And for a lot of people, that's very, very necessary. There's a number of various conditions where routinization is almost required. And if you don't have a routine, it seriously disrupts your ability to live. Autism is a really big one. However, things like OCD, ADHD, all of those can require routinization in order to prevent disruption of schedule. That does not mean that people with any of these conditions cannot deal with those disruptions. It just means it's harder for them to deal with those disruptions. Then there are other people where the chaos of disrupted schedules is what they're all about. Now let me say, more power to you. It's not easy being able to deal with that on a regular basis, and some people take it like a champ. And that's good. We need people like that. But there's also the case of, being able to handle the extraordinary is necessary for serious success. Like, if you want to go places in life, you've got to be able to deal with shit as it comes. And there's very little exception to that. Like, there is no getting around it. That's what you have to be willing to deal with. And it's not easy. And in a lot of cases, it's not fun either. But it's one of those things where if you're able to deal with the exceptional or the unusual, your life will be exceptional. And sometimes it doesn't even have to be that far out of the ordinary. Just having the courage to stand up and say no. Or stand up and say yes. You know, stand by your convictions. Stand on principle. A lot of times that will change a person's perspective. Just because they're like, well, wait, why is this person saying no? And in a lot of cases, they'll be like, no, you should just do what everyone else is doing. It's like that old picture. It was like one of the original memes. And it's a tree standing straight up. And the wind is blowing and all the other trees are leaning over. And one of them says, bend, you idiot. And it's like, no. Don't bow down. Stand up for what you believe in. Especially if it goes against the grain. And I mean truly goes against the grain. You know, there's a lot of sentiment out there now where they say that they are standing up for something that's not considered acceptable, except everyone accepts it. That's not standing up for the unusual. That's standing up for that's raging for the machine. Okay? That's not exceptional. That just means that you're bleeding with, yeah. Anyway, I'm not going to get into that, but as an example, if you want to change something about society, you have to do it by building culture. And to do that, you have to be an example. For instance, there is a gentleman in England, and he dresses in ancient Victorian clothing all the time. Like high Victorian society clothing. I'm actually kind of jealous of his wardrobe. Just like amazing clothing. I couldn't imagine what his budget is. Because he wants to bring back that level of class in society. And so he just does it by example. And do people follow in his footsteps? Maybe not. Do people appreciate it? Yes. Especially when he's walking around town, and he can walk because of the clothing. It's a bit of a costume, but he can also walk in anywhere from the more working class, blue collar, what we would consider blue collar in America neighborhoods, because they'll think of it as a novelty and kind of a chuckle, to the extremely high class neighborhoods where they'll consider it quaint. But he can blend in anywhere because everyone will appreciate what it looks like. And keep in mind, in Victorian times, if you were expected to wear a coat even while you were like the reason there are buttons on a suit jacket is because they're called doctor's buttons. Doctors were expected to wear their jacket while doing surgery, so they'd have to unbutton their jacket cuffs, and those buttons were only on doctors' jackets originally, so they could roll the sleeves of their jackets so they could do the surgery with their jacket on. And keep in mind, what we think of as business formal in America is business casual in classic British dress. And I mean that, like the regular blazer or suit coat that we wear in America is called a sack coat, and it was considered casual. And in some circles, it's still considered casual. It's also known as a leisure suit, because you'd wear it in the afternoon. You'd wear your morning suit, which is very close to what we consider a tux in modern parlance. You wore a tailcoat with a top hat and breeches in a lot of cases, although I think trousers were acceptable later on. And in fact, technically speaking, in the U.S. Supreme Court, barristers are still supposed to argue in the morning suit. They just don't really. It's a non-practiced requirement. It's a unenforced rule that you do so in a morning suit. Like breeches and all, like powdered friggin' wig. Okay, no shit. That's technically the expectation. We just don't enforce it. It's like one of the old blue laws. But these are the things you have to do if you want to change things. The Timcast IRL podcast, or the Cast Castle podcast, I should say. What they did and for those of you who don't know, Timcast Media is a fantastic news and media organization. They do a lot of opinion. They do a lot of interviews. Fantastic. I am not sponsored by Timcast Media, but I strongly recommend that you go check out their stuff. Very politically leaning, so just be aware of that. They've had they have people from all walks of life. They've had anyone everywhere from on the right they've had people like Steve Bannon on the left they've had like Destiny or Vosh on. So like really they run the gamut of political opinions. So just I strongly recommend you check them out if you haven't already. But in there, it's basically they've got a garage. It's basically an indoor skate park, right? They do all kinds of sports stuff, and it's skating and bicycling or BMX, not BMX, the trick riding bike stuff. I don't know what it's called. But they have this indoor skate park. And up on the wall, they have a Gadsden flag. Because they just want to be left alone. And that's what that flag means. That's building culture. And that's what you have to do if you want to change things. You have to be willing to risk the extraordinary to change it. Or you just have to accept the status quo. And there are people that want to change culture, and they do so. And they try to push it. And there's a right way to do things and a wrong way to do things. Like, the right way to do things is just to do stuff and hope other people do things the way you do them. You know, lead by example. The wrong way to do things is to tell people they should or have to do it your way. And because that's not being extraordinary, that's browbeating people. What good does that do you? What good does it do anyone? Right? To just like try and cram your ideology. No, don't do that. Like, as an example, if you work in a place, you could have people that dress in various ways. For instance, you might have a person that dresses in a three-piece suit. And in the same firm, you could have someone who dresses in jeans. And as long as it's within dress code, both are acceptable. Especially when the owner's the one that dresses in jeans. So that leaves the options open. It's not too formal to dress in a three-piece suit. It's not too casual to dress in jeans. That's what it's all about. And then let other people make their decisions. If you decide to be extraordinary, understand the risks of being extraordinary. But if you don't take the risk of being extraordinary, you're going to always be ordinary. That's the long and the short of it. Wear a kilt to work if you're inclined to do so. Or don't. You know, go after that dream job you've always wanted. Even if you're slightly underqualified, like apply knowing that you're underqualified, submit the resume, and see what happens. The worst that could happen is they say no. And especially today and in today's environment, underqualified is really a relative term. Give me just a second, guys. Okay. I can respond to him more after. That's Melky, who is one of my patrons and a supporter of the stream, and he's done a lot of research into the efficiency of swunting There is a video about the work he has done. He is a fantastic player, fantastic person, has done a lot of work. Check out the video on the swinting efficiency that was done about, I want to say it was about a month ago. His research really fueled a lot of the analysis of that video. Actually, it pretty much fueled all of the analysis of that video. So I strongly recommend you go and check him out, or check that out. And Melky, if you have, I'm pretty sure you're watching this. If you have your own channel, please, by all means, link it in the comments so that people can watch you. And if you don't, if you ever decide to, you have an open invitation to link it in the comments. So yeah. If you want to be extraordinary, if you want to live an extraordinary life, you've got to risk the extraordinary. You have to be willing to step out of your comfort zone. And that is key. Stepping out of the comfort zone is the biggest key to success. Now, how do you do that? Well, first of all, you got to be willing to look at what is your comfort zone. Because a lot of people are like, oh, I'm doing something that makes me... No, it doesn't make you uncomfortable. It's just not something you do on a regular basis. What is your comfort zone? You have to define your comfort zone. And then after you define your comfort zone, you go back and you say, okay, what would bring me in the direction that I want to go to make my life better? Okay. And you look at them and they're like, okay, to make my life better, I need to do X. Maybe you need to go and meet like 10 people and introduce yourself just so you're no longer scared of introducing yourself to folk. And that's a legit thing. Like being afraid to work a room and like talk to folk, that's legit. And that's a legit issue that people have. You know, extroverts, they look at things and they're like, how can that be a problem? And introverts are like, oh boy, that's an issue. So let's say you have trouble introducing yourself to people. Give yourself a goal. I am going to go to a party or to a gathering or an event or something. And my goal is to introduce myself to 10 people and look them in the eye when doing it. And that's goal number 1. And that's hard for people. That's especially hard for people that are high in introversion or low in extroversion. And it's also really hard for people with things like autism. Looking people in the eye. No, I'm serious. That's a legit thing. So that's goal number 1. Okay, you managed to do that. Now, pick 3 of those people and spend 10 minutes with them just talking to them. Learn about them. Ask them questions. Good. Did you do that? Awesome. Pick one of them. Try to get them to commit to following up with you so you can talk to them again. You just achieved a goal. You're on your way to extraordinary. Now, this doesn't sound extraordinary to most people, but this is the basis for networking. And there's an old saying, and Grant Cardone says this, your network is your net worth. The better your network, the better off you're going to be. And this isn't just for money. It's not just for money. It's life in general. And this could be the civic organizations you're a member of. If you're a Rotary, if you're a Mason, if you're a Knights of Columbus, Eastern Star, BSA, or Scouts BSA, Girl Scouts, any of that stuff. It's all networking. It's all networking. And there's a lot of things you can do with it. But that's what helps make your life extraordinary. And it doesn't matter what you choose to do. If you want to be stupid wealthy, so you get a job, I don't know, selling education products at a 10% commission, and each education product's worth $5,000, so you're making $500 a sale, or if it's because you want to help lots of people, so you become a Shriner. They're all legit goals. And they're all out of the box compared to what most people do. So take a chance. Get out of your comfort zone. Be willing to see what happens. Because you never know. You never know what could be an opportunity for you. And all you've got to do is take a chance. Run the risk. Ask that girl out on a date, for Christ's sake. Or ask that guy. Because, you know, if you're a... If you... Yeah, sorry, brain operating. It doesn't matter who asks who. You know, ask that person out on a date. Or accept the date that's offered. Even if you don't believe it's actually happening to you. Because that can change your life too. So, okay. Bit of a shorter one tonight, guys, but that's sometimes that's the way it works. We will be back again. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Please like, share, and subscribe down below. We are on the road to 13 million subscribers, one subscription at a time, so make sure you subscribe. And as always, I really appreciate the support, and we will see you in the next one. Welcome back to the Manor. Julian McBain here, and today we are going to be discussing another quote. And we're going to be hunting in is it Tuskdeep? Dustkeep Valley. So, pull our first opponent. But before we get started, if you're new to the channel, welcome to the Manor. Please take a moment and subscribe down below. We are on the road to 13 million subscribers, one subscription at a time, so make sure you subscribe. Also, please consider going to patreon.com/JulianMcBain if you want to support my work. If you do, you'll get exclusive content every month. Okay. First off, I want to apologize that this got out so late. The last week and a half has been very interesting. And on that note, there is a strong chance that I will be altering my schedule in the near future, and I will keep you all posted. That is not an immediate happening, but there's a strong chance that the schedule will alter, so just be prepared for that. It might be that it's something that you don't see, or it might be that my actual release schedule changes, and I'll cross that bridge when I come to it, and I'll keep you all informed. I just don't want you to be taken by surprise. Long story short, when I set up this schedule, I was not accounting for the possibility of relationships. So there. Okay, so the quote in question is by Frank Herbert. And it's, "The respect for truth comes close to being the basis for all morality." And it's a very interesting quote. Especially in light of what people see as truth. And I think that's something that we all have to think about, is what is truth? Because if truth is the basis for all morality, and I actually think it is. I think truth is the basis for all morality. You have to be able to define truth. Because I don't think truth necessarily has to be empirical fact. Okay? There is truth in empirical fact, and things that are empirically factual are indeed true. But there's more to truth than just empirical facts. And I think this is something that a lot of the... there are people who are very grounded in hard science and in empirical facts and things of that nature. And there's a utility to that that's very good. But I think they miss out on something. And I don't know what it is. It's I think that they're missing the less empirical and more metaphysical foundations that we build our societies on. And I know there are a lot of people who would not like that being said, or who would disagree with me. And if you disagree with me, I'd love to know your reasons why. That's why we have a comment section. I do read everyone's comments. I try to remember to respond to all of them. I am not always successful. Or if I don't have anything worth saying, I'm not going to respond to it. It might also be that I don't know what to say to a given situation, because that can happen too. So just be aware, I do read all comments. And while I might not agree with what you're saying, I will at least respect your opinion. It's like that old quote, you know, I don't agree with what you say, but I will defend to the death your right to say it. That's pretty much my take on a lot of things. Are these guys actually fighting someone, or... I guess technically I can't see the player model, but there's a green dot there, kind of hidden underneath. They're not taking damage, though. Oh, there's... Afka? Oh. She's not getting hit at all, so I'm not going to worry too much about her. She... Oh, it looks like she has a regen buff on her. Okay. Well, I'm not going to deliberately steal anything more from her. No, oh, I guess I grabbed aggro. Sorry about that.